Good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining us today for the last of our webinar series on the Tournament Management Club program. Today we're going to be talking about the new feature that was added on the last Friday called Quick Events. So, as some of you may have noticed who have been in the system over the past few days, is that rather than having two options up top, just create and clone, we now have a third one called Quick Event Setup. And this is what we'll be going over today. This is something that, since it was announced, we've been excited for and really hopeful that everyone I think it'll really help all of our clubs, because what the whole idea of quick events is that it takes the whole event process and boils it down to 4 steps. Makes it very quick and easy, and I think for a basic tournament that you just want to run for the weekend for members of a club, it's going to be a lot easier than going through the general process. So we'll get into that. One thing I do want to mention about it is that I'll kind of show you how it works, but that if you start with quick events, so let's say you start here, it doesn't impede you from going through all the normal setup as well. I'll kind of show you how that works, but even if you're doing a more advanced tournament or advanced event, there's no reason you can't start with quick events and then go to the more advanced options later. So let's go ahead and jump in here. So we're going to click on quick event setup. We'll name our event TM Webinar Quick. Pick our category, and we can even pick our season, which we went over last week. We'll get started. Alright, so this is quick events. As you can see here, we have, well, we need to let it load fully. So we have 4 steps: event setup, competition scorecard, players, printed materials, and you're done. That is, they've boiled it down and made it so those 4 steps you can completely do an event. You can have everything ready, then all you'd have to do at the end is type in scores and get results. So let's kind of walk through how this works. Excuse me. All right. So the event date, this we can change to what we'd like. Let's go to March. Let's say it's next Wednesday the 7th. Our pairing group size. So if we want 2-somes, 3-somes, 4s, 5s, and 6s. We can select our default tee, or which one we're going to use in general. As you can see here, it does tell you that you can always select different tees when adding players to the event. So what I would do here is select the tee that most people are going to play. If you have a few that are playing a longer set or a shorter set, that's alright. I'll show you how to do that, but this is a great way. You just put in here whatever you want your default one to be. We're going to play 18. Number of pairing groups, so let's say we have 20 people. Tee times, they're going to start at 9 a.m. We're going to start on hole 1, have 9-minute intervals. If we wanted to add a starter time, we could. There is also the option to do a shotgun instead. So you can set your starting time, what hole you want to start on, and then you can set the number of groups per hole. Even set up a reverse shotgun. So you click that way, also 1 and 18 backwards. So even though this is, as you can see, this is a quick event setup and meant to do event setup quickly, it still allows you most every option that you could need. So now that we finish this page, we don't hit finish down here. We just click on competition scorecard. So what's asking you here is, so what type of tournament do you want to set up? So we want to set up a tournament. Alright, so we're going to do stroke play. Let's do pair versus field. And how about we do a 2-man scramble. Alright, we're going to do 18 holes. And we will do net with 35 and 15. And then under handicaps, we'll make sure we can set up different options that we want. And like many people asked, if we were doing a best ball, under handicaps, we would have the option to limit the difference. So just wanted to show that. Let's go back to our scramble. They're 35 and 15. We're not going to drop any holes. Now, as you see here, Golf Genius learned that people do stins a lot. And as many of you found, setting up stins can be a little cumbersome in the normal system. So for quick events, they added it in as a very basic option. So what this is asking you is, are you doing net or gross? So let's say we're going to do both today. We can type in our entry fee, say it's $10 a piece. And then store card template, here we can actually pick from the store cards that they have created and also any ones that we have saved in our library. So since we're doing a two-man scramble, let's say we want a pair store card with a team store. Alright, so now we finished our competition and store card area. We're going to go down to players, and now we're going to add in our people. So this is a really nice setup that they created for adding in players, because you can immediately see them on the tee sheet and add them right there. As you can see here, any blank one, we can add a blind. And for adding people, you still have the same options: master roster, Gin roster, all of Gin, spreadsheet, or even manual entry. So for master roster, let's just go select by tee sheet, or select from the master roster so we can find someone. So what it's asking you here is, do you want to add them to the bench, which is here, or the tee sheet directly? So this is kind of up to you how you want to do it. Let's start with a bench, trying to show you how that works. So first we're going to select what tee these people are going to play that we're going to select. We're going to select if they are going to play in the net stins or gross stins. So let's just say we're going to start with the people that are only doing the net stins. We'll select players. And let's say Sharon, golfer senior 6, and golfer junior 6 are the ones that meet those conditions. We'll import them, and they'll be moved to the bench. Now from here, we can click and drag them over to where we want them in the tee sheet. So let's say Sharon goes there, golfer 6 goes here, and junior we know goes there. Nice and easy. We also have the ability to add right to the tee sheet, and then I'll just add them in order, excuse me. So let's say these nets group are playing both net and gross, and from the white tees. And we will just add in some people here. Import them. And you see it takes a minute, loads them up, and they're right in there. So now let's say the nets batch isn't getting in any stins. And as you do notice, once you add someone from the master roster, they do leave this option to select more, so you can't select one person twice. Looks like I have 2 spots remaining, so let's do manual entry for them, and we will do Jack Wilbur. Let's say he's a 5 handicap, male, he's playing from the white tees, and he'll be in the gross stins. So we'll add him, and we'll add myself here, and I'm going to play just in the net, and then I'll add. Alright, so right there, we just created our tee sheet for our 20-person event. That easy. Now, if this isn't set up how we want to do it, we can easily click and drag and shift people around that way. We can shift whole pairing groups if we want. We can even, out of all these things, whenever you see a drop down, if you click on it, it'll give you options for availability. So let's say we actually wanted to do 6 pairing groups and have 2 twosomes. We can insert tee time below, and let's say this gentleman and this one are playing as twosomes. And boom, we got it. Oh, that actually deleted some people from us. That's interesting. It should not have deleted those other people, but for some reason it looks like it actually got rid of some. Because we had a full 20 and now we don't. That is interesting. Have to check on that and see why it did it. Yeah, and they're not available here anymore. Well, that is something I'll have to bring up with Golf Genius. So I just want to make sure you guys saw what happened. When I added that new line, it actually removed some people, which it should not have done. It should have just added a new group line. But sorry about that. Let's just keep moving on so we can kind of get through what I wanted to show you guys. All right. So these little drop downs allow you to have other options. Move players to bench. We can swap players at tee times. Let's say Mr. Wabbit here doesn't have a handicap index. We click the drop down, go to edit player details. We can enter in a handicap right here, and then, oh wait, he needed to change and decide to get in the gross skins. So click on that and hit save. And now, let's say this is all done. I know we didn't get it filled out, but we will get to that in a minute. Weird. All right. Up here, we also have some other options for the general tee sheet. So we can actually have the system reorder players, either randomly by AB, ABCD, entry number, or custom field. So you do have those automatic sorting options if you'd like. You also have the ability to move all the players to the bench or delete players from the tee sheet, reassign all tee times, and another way to sort the tee sheet. So just wanted you to see that. So once you have everything in there, you go to printed materials, and right away you have the ability to print tee sheets, store cards, alpha lists, or cart signs. So let's say we go to store cards, hit print, give it a minute to load. But come, where are my store cards? This should just pop up with them. It's not wanting to. Alright, let's come back to that. So, sorry about these little errors. These are things that I have not had happen with this before. Let's do something here. We're just going to remove these extra groups that we have here. Come on. Go back to our event setup and change the number of pairing groups. We want to go down to 3. Go back to our players. Alright. Weird. So what I'm trying to get to happen is this file to come print it up for us, which is not lighting right now. So let's just add in a last person. Alright, so now we have our full tee sheet. Now let's see if our store cards will print like they should. Will a tee sheet print? So what's this supposed to do is you can select these, you hit print, and they'll pop up in a new field in a PDF that you can print right off, just like this is supposed to do. So this is what it should do when you click on which ones you want to print. It should pop up with your T-sheet or your store card, and then allow you to print right here. Odd. Then you can hit back, come back to your quick event setup. So one other thing I want to show you with this is, so quick event setup does not eliminate the ability to go in and do more options. If I were to hit finish down here, what this will do is it'll take me out of the quick event setup and right into the full event ability. So under golfers, we can come down here to our event roster and view everybody, which as you can see, everyone is still in our event roster. It's just for some reason they were removed from the pairing groups in the quick event setup, which is something I'll need to ask Golf Genius about because that should not have happened. And then we still have, and the other thing it did is with those gross and net spins that we set up, so it created two groups. So if we manage groups, it actually created a gross skins and a net skins group. So this way to separate out those people for the individual tournaments. And if we go to rounds and tournaments, it automatically created our tournaments that we have, our low scramble, pair versus field, net skins, gross skins. So if we were coming right out of the quick events and after we printed our materials, all we would have to do is go to rounds, enter scores, enter in our scores for everybody, do our random, and go to test leaderboard. So, and then we would have our leaderboard. Oh. And there we go. The other thing I wanted to show you with this is you do have the ability to, we go back to our event profile. Nope. We just go back to our so this is our lead center, or our event center, excuse me. We can go back into the quick events setup if we wanted to. So you always have the ability to go in and out of the quick events setup. One thing, as you can see, is that for quick events, you don't have the ability to set up teams. So that's why, but you can use this pair and foursome versus field or flight option. And what that just means is that you have to make sure that the people who are playing together are set up on the tee sheet together. So the pairs would be 1 and 2, the A and A, and B and B, A, B, B. So that's how you'd have to set up teams to create an event like that. So let's go to questions on this because as you saw, we did have some issues, and those are not things that were supposed to happen that I'll have to talk to Golf Genius about. Kevin, have you seen that stuff before with quick events?
No, but there's a couple things I'd like to point out, some additional features. Colin, if you go to competition scorecard,
Yeah.
For those who do not want anything scored, you simply want to develop some scorecards just to get it out the door. There are no tournaments option.
Right
so
here.
Then you can quickly put your players in and then print off your an alpha list or a scorecard sheet if you have no reason to do any scoring. So that's really nice as well. The other option in there, if you go to players, is that if you bring everybody into the bench, if you click on the down arrow of the bench area, you can then bring people into the tee sheet based on criteria. Maybe you want the system to do it by handicap, or ABCD or whatever you may like, so, or randomly. So it's nice that if you don't know specifically where you want people to go, the bench will give you the option of bringing those individuals into the system based on some criteria that you select.
Yes, and once they're in the tee sheet, you can have them be reordered by clicking here and reordering players as well.
Right. Also, if you note there on the right-hand side, you have the ability to edit the tee time and hole location, hole startings. If you click on yes or no. And also, if you're quick trying to get somebody out the door, you got a group that just showed up, and like I said, in a quick fashion, you want to create one scorecard for one group, you have the ability to hit the print by pairing group button, and it will just produce one scorecard for that exact group on the tee sheet. So you don't have to do the whole list, especially if you're trying to get people quickly out the door and onto the golf course.
So as you see here, we can just click that. It gives us these two options. We click this first group, hit print, and it should load a scorecard for us.
Yes, and also if you see the little cart button, you can quickly create cart signs as well if you need them.
And there we have our scorecard for that first group only. We hit back. That was weird. Did you have other features you wanted to show, Kevin?
No, that pretty much sums it up. Like I said, it's here. Like I said, it's meant to be quick. So there are certain features in here that don't exist. So if there are things that you want to add to your event, please just go to the main part of the club program and then add those in as necessary.
Yes, and one of the things that Golf Genius has kind of mentioned that they've liked about this is a great way to just get the bare bones setup for your event done, and then you can go into the rest of it afterwards. So that way you can get a general event set up all in one place without having to jump around to different categories. And this should load up again for us. But I know that was really quick. Does anybody have any questions on that?
I would just encourage people to play with it. It's a great new feature. I would also encourage, in a lot of cases, the quick events setup may be actually a great place to start your event. And then as you need to add more, go into the club feature. So I would say for many of you, this may be actually where you should start. I'm not saying that you shouldn't use the wizard or start from scratch, but the quick events may give you the boost you need to help you put together all the other events together, and all those added features later down the road.
Absolutely. Totally agree. Well, we're definitely open for questions here. I know, as you see here, my issue that we had earlier where some people left, they actually had gone to the bench somehow. And when we added everybody back, they all showed up again. We'll have to talk with Golf Genius and see if that's something that's meant to happen or if that was just an oddity. Yeah.
Yeah, the last thing I would say is that I would encourage everybody to look back on this 7-week series. All of those videos are in YouTube. So there's a lot of information that Colin has covered over the last 7 weeks. So make sure to use those as your reference points so that you can go at your own speed. We got one more question here. Is TPP still going to be available even though it will not be supported? So TPP online has been turned off. TPP, the old TPP that resided on your computer can still work. As long as it works with your operating system, there's nothing to stop you from using TPP. Just keep in mind that it will not talk to Gen. So you can't post scores and you cannot pull handicaps from Gen because that feature has been disabled. So if that's what you would like to do, you're still more than welcome to use it. But obviously, we have moved on to this product because we believe in it, and it provides more features than TPP did before. So if you still want to use it, go be our guest. And if there's something we can help you with, we will try our best. But this is definitely the future of tournament management because the system is only getting better and more robust. There's a lot you can do in here that TPP couldn't do in the past.
Joe, you had a question about the meeting on March 1st. We don't actually have a webinar tomorrow. This is our last one of our series. Is there any other questions people had on quick events or just general tournament management?
Is there a relationship between eClubhouse and Golf Genius? Unfortunately, there is not. Development on eClubhouse has stopped, as we know that eClubhouse will be coming to an end most likely at the end of this year. Our offices are working on a substitute program to that, but I don't have any more information relating to that. Golf Genius also just released an API structure that we can pull information from this program, but there's still more information that needs to be gleaned from that. So we're hoping to have some interaction at some point down the road. Another question, are reports downloadable to Excel? Yes, they are. And that's not done from the quick events section. It's actually done in the main program. If you go to your report center, there are a lot of options for exporting in Excel.
Under rounds, download and print center, you can see the options for spreadsheets over here.
Yeah. Another one, master roster, is it for my Linwood only group or all of GIN? So what it's pulling is that every active member who is a member of your club number, we're not talking about service number, but the club number will pull into the master roster if you do that, if you click on the bring in from GIN. So keep in mind that this program is being shared by the men's and women's groups or 9-holers or what other services that are underneath that club number for the facility. That's how it's being managed. So we encourage you to create an affiliation custom field inside your master roster designating your men's club, women's club, or what other services may exist, so that when you're creating your events, you can sort by those individuals and putting them into your rosters. And Joe, yes, we are here to help you. So if anybody has any questions, please email or call us or use the chat feature within Tournament Management. We're here to help all season long, and we welcome your questions because we know that this is a robust program and there's a lot of features, and we recognize there is also a learning curve here. So we want to make sure people are as prepared as possible as we enter the new season tomorrow.
Margaret, your question about using print groups, can that be used to bring in members? No, the print groups don't correlate with tournament management. It would just be bringing over the entire club would be the only way to do it when you import from GIN.
So in that recommendation, what I would do is I would go into GIN and I would do a spreadsheet export of your print group, and then bring that spreadsheet into tournament management. That's how I would import those players. And you can reference back to, I believe, the first week of this webinar series on how to do that. Okay, so what I was referring to is that if you have a print group within Gin, what you can do is you can do an export of those players in the Gin system through the reporting feature, so that you get a spreadsheet of those individuals only tied to that print group and their contact information, and then come to tournament management and do an import to your event or master roster. Based on that spreadsheet, it will pull all of that information in just for those select people. And I would also encourage you to create some kind of custom field to tag those people to a specific club. All right, is there anything else? Everybody, enjoy the start of the season. It's closely here. I know the weather doesn't quite equate to it, but score posting starts tomorrow. And if you have any questions, please reach out to us. And thanks for joining us for all these weeks.
Have a good day, everybody.